All right, happy Monday rolling out. This is your host, Crystal Jordan, and we have a very special reality check today. Not only is our guest someone that I know you guys are going to enjoy the conversation with, but she's on location doing her thing. So let me go ahead and bring her in really quickly. We have the very beautiful TS Madison. Hey, boo.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? What's going on, honey?
How are
I,
you?
well, I'm good. I'm sorry that we've caught each other in the nail shop.
Oh, that's okay. Doing getting yourself together for your week. Now, first of all, congratulations on your show doing so well on Fox Soul. Turned
Thank
Up
you.
with TS Madison. You had an amazing first season, and
hmm
now you are actually starting your second season, which actually
Which premieres tonight.
I know tonight. Are you excited?
I'm very excited because it has very big pieces of the puzzle that put together two industry icons.
Yeah.
Lee Daniels, and Monique. And the season finale of my show last season was great because that Monique interview caused quite a stir
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
world.
Yeah. Yes.
And what's so funny about that interview is that Monique had been talking about her her situation for a very, very long time,
Right.
and it just seems like that this time, it seemed like people, like, they heard her,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
they heard her.
Yeah.
It was bigger than just it being just an interview. It's just like now there's action, is just movement is going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's huge. I think everyone was really happy to see, um, to hear, because we heard and saw a video of Lee talking, and hearing the two of them are going to be back together. Definitely looking forward to your interview with Lee. I had a chance to check it out,
Oh,
and
you seen it?
I saw it. Yeah, he talks about that. He also talks about the situation with Jussie. So it's a it's a lot that's happening right now that we're one thing is actually happening, and it's a positive thing. I want to ask your opinion because, like, you ask him about his thoughts on the Jussie Smollett thing. Obviously, right now, um, social media is still suffering with all this stuff from
Well,
who.
shit. I still want to know what happened.
But do you think? Let me just ask you, because we obviously we can't go through any interview with a talk show host and not talk about Will Smith and Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett. But I had a question for you, because we're in a weird place where people are considering canceling people, but conversation is really what heals and fixes things, right?
Yes,
That
yes.
conversation with Monique actually helped, even though yes, she had talked about it for years. Sometimes it's the right conversation. So, what do you think about the idea of canceling people? And this whole situation has everybody really on edge. But where do you think the solution and the healing can come from in this situation?
Sometimes we're always talking just to talk instead of talking and people actually hearing and listening.
Yeah.
And I do think that it comes, moments. It's just like with any relationship. Like, relationships go through situations because of lack of communication, and it's because one person is trying to get the other person to hear and
Yeah.
feel and understand. And then sometimes it really boils down to it being at the correct alignment of
Yeah.
it needing to happen. And
Hmm.
so, do I think that was professional of Will Smith to slap the shit out of Chris Rock? I mean, maybe, maybe that was the timing for it to. So you have to really look at how things work in the grand scheme of the situation. You
Hmm.
know, and when I sit back and I say the grand scheme of the situation, I was sitting at my dinner table last night talking to my mother about, this whole thing.
Yeah. We
And I
love
said
seeing
to
your
her,
mom on your show, on your WeTV show.
"Oh, you'll definitely see her on Turned Out this season too." It's
Good.
so funny. What was amazing to me about this is that the when Monique came to me,
Hmm.
it was a full circle moment for me because the last time I had saw Monique was when the time when I was doing the Queen's Court with my former co-host,
Yeah.
and her interview is what what led to the shambles and the dismantling of the Queen's
Of the
Court.
police court.
And so 4 years after that, we get to this place where we interview, where I get the opportunity to really interview Monique and really let her tell her story. And
Mm-hmm.
this time, it seems like that it was hearing.
Yeah.
At the time when that situation was going on with the Queen's Court, I was like, oh my God, oh, this is going on, that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
When today, when I look at it now, I really look at it as if that had completely nothing to do with me.
Right.
That whole situation had nothing to do with me, and it had everything to do with divine timing,
Mm-hmm.
because my life is sewn somewhere in together with Monique's. My life is sewn together somewhere with Lee Daniels. My
Mm-hmm.
life is intertwined into this situation. And so this had all of that stuff, all the chaos and turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with me. It had something to do with the way that the world was going to line up with the proper communication and the time that it needed to be heard, so
Mm-hmm.
that there's something could happen.
Right. Right.
And so I think that
Uh,
that the situation with Will is bigger than that. Him slapping the shit out of Chris Rock. I think maybe there's going to be some type of healing that goes on down the line in the marriage between him and Jada. Because, and I'm not saying that their marriage is destroyed, is not healed, but there's lots of stuff. We found out lots of things about them just
yeah.
by watching her at the red table talk.
Right. 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 I
August
do.
Alsina jumped out. August Alsina comes out and tells us that
He has.
he had been beating the brakes off of Jada, and that Will knew, and we didn't know that, but
We did
all
not
this stuff
know that
happened, and it's just like so many things came out. We speculated about that couple for a very long
for a long
time.
time. You're right. Yeah. There
And
were
then,
there were a lot of rumors about that, and then for that to come out, I do hate that we see. Both sides are hurt. It seems odd to me that people don't have a little bit more compassion for Chris Rock. So I want to ask you, what do you think would be different if Chris Rock were a part of the LGBTQ community?
well, we would have got up and whooped their ass. You slapped
Yes.
my sister. You as a straight man slapped my sister on stage. Oh, we tearing the bitch up. The girls is coming up there. You let one of us get slapped. You let me go to one of those events and somebody come up there and slap out of me and think
No.
that the rainbow ain't gonna let Skittles loose in there.
I'm aware the rainbow is, but that's the thing though. I wonder, like, but nobody cares. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of compassion for Chris, but if he were gay, if he were a woman, then it would be totally different.
Oh well, I mean, because sometimes people look at, well, Chris, you've been reading them people for a long time. Because if you go back and you see videos, he's been reading that couple for a long. He's been making jokes about them for a very long time. And
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it on my YouTube channel. I'm telling you what happened what was gonna happen if Will wouldn't have got up and said nothing. Jada was gonna ride home all night and say, "Nigga, you let that nigga sit up there and say that about my bald head? You let that nigga sit." So you mean to tell me? Because he laughed at first when you
He
look at the
did
tape.
laugh at first.
He laughed at first. He
Right.
laughed, but then when he looked over there, he saw how her facial expression changed. Then it was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Let me
I'm
go
gonna
do
get back.
something.
Let me go do something. I'm gonna get bashed in the car going home because black women don't play that. You let you be out with your man and somebody and another man disrespect you and he don't say or do nothing.
Yeah.
You don't think you busting him in his head when he ride?
You got a point. You got a point, but I don't know. It's unfortunate. I think I think people just don't, we're so desensitized. Like Chris Rock's daughters had to watch him be slapped on national TV. That's horrible.
Yeah, and so this is where as a man, his manhood has been tested, but he's a smart man.
He
You
is a
see
smart.
him. You see immediately what happened. His ticket sales went up. You
Yeah.
know, he used it to his advantage, and
Absolutely.
not only did his ticket sales go up, girl. I mean,
He's
You see what happened to Will.
yeah,
All these upcoming TV shows canceled or
yeah.
on hiatus or
His Netflix move, all that. Well, I just wanted to ask your opinion on that because you talk about it, so I wanted to see what you were thinking. Now, I want to ask you because you are someone that has been, like I said, you're a person that is often trending on social because of the show, and you just have that knack to be able to connect with culture, especially over the last few years. Was your goal to be a talk show host? What was your goal years ago when you first started?
to be honest with you, I yes, it's pretty. Yes. Um, to be honest with you, I've always felt that I was going to be some type of star. I don't know what type of star it was, but I really didn't want to put it in here. I really didn't want to get into it's in. It's in. I didn't really want to get into talk show hosting until later on in life because when I started watching, I'm gonna tell you who was my inspiration. Ricky Lake.
Oh wow, yes, I remember Ricky Lake. Yeah.
Listen, Ricky Lake,
Mm-hmm.
Phil Donahue,
Mm-hmm.
Geraldo Rivera.
Geraldo Rivera.
This is stuff that I've grown up with because these are the people who shaped the way that I learned about people in the world. Like
Mm-hmm.
I saw my first skinhead and I saw my first
Yeah.
KKK person on television. I saw it
Mm-hmm.
there, and I saw Geraldo trying to mediate in between black people and
Yeah.
KKK, and he got his ass whooped. I saw all of that happen, and I was like, wow, you learn about the world through talk.
Yeah.
And it started manifesting to me like, girl, the only way that people are really going to learn about the things that you want to talk about is, girl, possibly through talk. Like you sit down and you talk to people, you find out what's going on, and you share
Mm-hmm.
your story, you share theirs, and you really look at how we're all parallel to each other, like no matter our race and color. And so that's what made me say, I want to talk show. I want to see somebody get their ass whooped. I don't want to get my ass whooped on a talk show, but I want to see somebody get popped on national TV. And I want to be sitting in the midst of trying to figure out like what's going on and like how do you end the race war or how do you end a 13-year feud between two Hollywood moguls? How do you do that?
Was it 13 years with Monique and Lee? Wow. Was it 13 years since Precious? Wow. Wow. That's huge. That is huge. I remember Ricky Lake and Geraldo. That was the era when talk show was really like king. Everybody would come home after school and watch all those.
Everybody, listen, a talk show. If you had a talk show, that's what you come home to do.
Yeah.
You come to get the tea. You
Hey,
come to find out.
Tyra Banks had a talk show at that time. I mean, back in the day after Ricky Lake.
Mm-hmm.
So you realize that you wanted to be a part of that, but you also act and do a lot of. You've been on RuPaul's drag show. Like, what have you enjoyed the most in
All of it.
all of it?
I enjoy all of it, and I'm gonna tell you something because I learn a new piece about myself each time that I'm involved in it. Like I learned with me being a talk show host that I'm a healer.
Hmm.
I learned that with me being on RuPaul's Drag Race, honey, that my presence is necessary, because I'm an inspiration to a lot of the queens that are competing. I
Mhm.
learned it with me being an actress that I have to challenge myself to be someone or to be something, that I'm not, or take on a character that's not even me. You know what I'm saying? And I have to. It's like I've learned so much. Each era that I'm in, I learned so much more about me.
That's
And
nice.
so this is why I enjoy. Oh, my earpiece. This is why I enjoy. It's good. Good. This is why
Look okay?
I love it.
Love it?
Yes. This is why I enjoy doing all of the things because it's not putting me into one. It's not putting me into just like being one person. Like, oh, she's just a talk show host. Oh no,
Yeah.
honey. When I introduce myself, I am an entertainer.
Entertainer.
That is my job. I am an entertainer. The electric TS Madison, honey. I mean, I send shockwaves all up and through.
All up and through. Tell us about tell
Yes.
us about how important it is to be in this position. You being the first Black trans woman to have her own reality show and then to be producing the show. How important is that in inspiring others and making this a part of like the, just it's where it's not just one. It's not, isolated incidents, but this is just open and people kind of find more, I guess, areas of synergy and realize that we're not all that different.
Well, the importance of it is this: it calls out the bigger industry in saying, "Hey, why is there only one?
Yeah.
Hey, why is there only one? Why is she the first out of all the years on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Why?" It starts. It challenges places and entities to come forth and do what must be done, and that is to make sure that the world is diverse,
Yeah.
and it needs inclusion, and it's like it needs to stop being just one. We got to fix this right here, Mama Mita. It needs to stop being just one. I don't want to just at, okay. At first it's like you know you get out here and you're the first, and sometimes you can be the first and people forget you, and then they'll remember the second, the third, the fifth, the seventh, but the
Mm-hmm.
first, And so I enjoy being that, but then there's times that I'm like, yeah, let me be the first, and then bring the third, the second, the fifth, like
Mm-hmm.
bring the girls on, because
Yeah.
this is what we need, you know.
Don't you think like? Don't you think that it's the conversation recently has been better? That's another thing I wondered. Why do people, Chris Rock had that situation, but what did you think about Dave Chappelle's comedy? Because his comedy has often targeted, targeted that community, but there doesn't seem to be people don't seem to take it. I think they seem to take it as he's trying to understand and he's trying to educate himself, and it's not always seen as something negative.
Well,
How do you
personally,
see?
hold on, girl. I don't really understand. Like, you want me to lift it up?
Lift it up. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Here's my thing with the Dave Chappelle. I don't watch stuff that I know that's going to be like, targeted. I don't watch it. I have not seen the special.
Okay.
I did hear that my sisters were very triggered by it. I'm not
Mhm.
going to watch stuff that's going to trigger me, because I know, I'm just not going to do it. I know that we're the butt of jokes, and it's just, I'm just not going to, I'm going to protect my peace.
And you
So
got
I'm not going to pull up on that, and I
right.
try to tell the girls, you know, protect your peace,
Yeah.
but I do understand when the outcry was like, you are a black man that occupied space that a lot of black men look up to, and you're talking about something that's really, sensitive to our black community. The black girls suffer the most when it comes down to this, because the black trans murders are extremely high. So
Yeah.
the black girls suffer the most, and you're an influence on black men, and you should take that into consideration.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, these people make these jokes, and this is what they do and say. Girl, I wear their ass out. Like, I have big balls, literally, no pun intended, but I have big balls and tough skin like that.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to that, I will read a bitch down to the floor,
Mhm. We've
and like,
seen.
no holds barred,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, and so with that being said, that kind of stuff doesn't hurt me, but I understand how it could hurt a community. I
Right.
can understand how it could hurt a community, or a place, a bunch of people. I can
Mhm. Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with black people. Black people don't get eight, nine. Black people don't get how it they can always hear how how racism affects us as black people, but they
Mhm.
never can hear when we say, hey, we this shit affects us too as trans people. Like, have a little, well, y'all need to be able, you can't equate sexuality, you can't put the two together, but it's just like it kind of runs parallel. Like, it's yeah, yeah, it's an offense. It's, people are offended, and people are hurt, and this is, you got to take account. You got to
Yeah. Is
step
it,
back and say it's possible.
are we in a different world, in your opinion, now than when you were growing up?
Oh yeah.
Look pretty and
Mhm.
elegant.
Yeah, we're most definitely in a different world.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're most definitely. Did you get the receipt? You got it.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. We're most definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. See you next time.
Yes, ma'am. We're most definitely in a different world, a different time, a different space now. I got to turn this thing up here like this. Different world, a different time, a different space. We're most definitely in those things because, thank you. Because back then, the things that people get away with now, saying what they saying, oh, girl, you can't. There's no possible way that you're able to get away with with that stuff now. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impossible. Like, and here's where people thinking that we're so sensitive because they're used to being able to say fag and tranny and stuff with vitriol and
Hmm.
be able to get away with it because nobody was really like fighting hard for it like
Yeah.
that. Like nobody was fighting hard for it. And so now people like, oh, they so sensitive and they get whatever they want. And it's like, nah, people not with that no more.
Yeah.
you know. And it could be the same for the black community if we stop sweeping all of this stuff under the rug, like or not looking at other black people as girl. We don't respect each other as black people. That's why we can't stick together. If we stuck together, girl, we could tear the roof off some stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're right because that LGBT community does stick together,
And
and they
we'll
have
tear the
the
roof
roof
off
off.
of it. But the
Yes.
thing about it is, I'm black and LBGT at the same time.
Not at the same damn
So,
time. Right.
so when black people be saying stuff like, "Oh, I can't, I don't, child, I ain't with none of that stuff because that don't pertain to me." I'm like, well, when we wasn't black, when we weren't black, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to see this season? You got definitely I'm sure everyone's going to be tuned in to see Lee Daniels episode and to see what else is coming up. But what do you want? What is your goal, your personal goal for this season of Turned Up with TS Madison?
With TS Madison this season, I want it to be a season of oh shit. You see that lightning? It's bad. Be a season of healing. I want a lot of healing to come.
We're probably going to lose her. She's in the car. And I know that the sound is going in and out. Can you hear us? Or can you hear me? I don't think she can hear me. All right. Well, you know what? I know that she's in transit, but you guys definitely make sure that you check out Turned Up with TS Madison on Mondays on Fox Soul. Actually, on Wednesdays. I'm sorry, on Wednesdays on Fox Soul. You can check them out tonight. And this conversation that she's having with Lee Daniels is definitely one that I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to hear. It's great seeing him, Monique. And this is awesome that this form of this venue actually brought the two of them together. So thank you so much. We're gonna let TS go because we can't hear her because she's in the car. And hopefully you guys will tune in and check it out. It's definitely going to be an interesting season. So tune in for Turned Up with TS Madison on Fox Soul. All right. And I will see you all right here, back here on Rolling Out next time for Monday Night Reality Check. You guys know we go back to back. So stay tuned for the next conversation. I've been your host, Christal Jordan. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.